So it's time for day 3 summary of Leaders in Truth. And I forgot something from last night about the fire. The fire is 500 to 600 degrees hot. Okay, 500 to 600 degrees hot. Now gold melts at 300 degrees, to put in perspective. Okay, so that's pretty amazing. So anyway, so I woke up and like I said to you, we actually went up that mountain there. And it's a natural heritage site, so there's literally remains in caves. There's 3 caves from the Khoisan, 2,000 years old, phenomenal. And actually they found some stuff, I don't want to quote exactly, but it's like 160,000 years old or something. It's one of the oldest sites in the world of human remains. And I sat on top of this cliff, up that mountain, whatever you want to call it, and I watched the sun rising and just had a quiet moment. And I actually wrote here, I feel alive. I am so happy. And I think it sums up how valuable it is to get out of the rat race, get off the hamster wheel, and to just find some time, for myself and to be around like-minded people. So, for me, we after the walk, we came back and we started an exercise and we worked on fear. And, we went through a lot of fears last night. You're putting arrows in your throat, you're putting rebar in your throat, you're walking across fire. I saw a bloody black, spitting cobra. And we had a whole discussion around whether fear is your friend or your foe. And this for me was really interesting. And one of the guys said, fear, you either got love or you got fear. And it's one of the things that I've learned so long ago, like gratitude. Like if you got gratitude, it's very hard to have other things in your life, certainly negative. So there's some acronyms for fear, and it's false evidence appearing real. And one of the things that I realized was that, often we're in our comfort zone and magic is sort of over there. And to get from our comfort zone to the magic, we've got to go through fear. And ultimately, fear can be a flagpole. It can be, giving you a really good direction that you're going, in the right direction. You're finding your truth and you're going towards your true self in terms of that. We then went quite deep. I've done this before with Dr. Hannes Dreyer as well, around quantum physics and quantum mechanics. And he was talking a lot about the whole mind power principles. And John, what's the gentleman's name now? Robin Banks is one of the gentlemen, but his mentor. Anyway, and it was all talking about our future is our past self. Our present is our past self. What we did in the past, what our reality today is because of the decisions we made in the past. And ultimately our wisdom is our future self. And it was really quite interesting because quantum time is where you bring past, present, and future all together into one thing. And what's fascinating is you can only create things in the present moment. You can't create them in the past and you can't create them in the future. You can only create them in the present moment. And fear lives in the future. So if you take that into account, the only thing you can control is the present moment. And if you can control the present moment, well, then you can control fear, because fear is in the future. And ultimately, you could live a life with no fears in terms of that process. But what's really, really important is to check in with your emotion, because your emotion gives you the guidelines in terms of that process. And ultimately, fear can be your friend in terms of that fear or foe. We then did a whole exercise around manifestation, and we did a lot of work around manifestation. And true manifestation only happens when you're living in the present. And I thought that was really good because, so many of us worry about the past, or, we've got issues about our past and we worry about the future, and yet we don't stay in the present. And manifestation, true manifestation happens. And the ability to manage, so manifestation is the ability to manage the creative tension between our past and our future. That's beautiful, eh? So manifestation is the ability to manage the creative tension between our past and our future. And so we did this whole manifesting thing, and we were taken through a process, and actually it's one of the ways we concluded, which was with the principle of seeding. So in life, and if you've watched the thing called The Secret or whatever, a lot of people have heard of affirmations, which is where you chant something, or visualization, where you visualize the future. But when you seed, you use all 5 of your senses and you make it real life. And ironically, that's exactly what I've been doing in terms of one of the meditations for the last 18 months around this whole faith and joy. And it's not just about thinking about it, but it's about feeling it, seeing it, experiencing it, and literally manifesting it in the present. And he gave us a daily practice where you literally run through gratitude, and then from gratitude you acknowledge the biggest challenge you got in your life at the moment. And you don't hide it away. You go, yep, that's my challenge. You then get clear on what your goal is that you're wanting to achieve. You you get clear on your purpose, and then ultimately you get yourself into the right state to make that all a reality. And there was a whole breathing exercise that he took us through in terms of that process. And I thought it was a great way to end, because if you think about it from a state perspective, it comes back to be, do, have, you know. And what all of us want is like to change the world and to have lots of money and have all these other things. But actually, if you're not on the inside, if you haven't figured it out on the inside, you're not going to manifest it on the outside. You have to be, then you have to do, and then ultimately you'll have. And it's a fascinating concept if you think about it. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful to have got to experience these 3 days here, to really spend time with myself, to connect with myself, to really delve into what is self-love and my inner self, and ultimately what is my truth. And I fundamentally believe, and I want to thank Kerry and the team for, Leaders in Truth, for running this, event. It was world class. I've literally done stuff with Tony Robbins and, in Fiji, and Roger Hamilton in Bali, and you name it. Like, I'm not being arrogant, but I've done stuff all over the world. This venue was world class. The hospitality was incredible. The facilitation was amazing. It was so awesome to do it out in nature, and all of these processes, like when I've done it with Tony Robbins in Vegas and London or whatever, it's like so, I don't know, commercial. Whereas like here, you're like with your boys, you're with your, in a group, like in the bush, lighting the fires and then walking on the fires and whatever. It's just surreal. It's absolutely amazing. It was really, really highly recommended. But my takeaway is that in life, if you know something and you don't apply it, then you don't know it. And so a lot of the stuff I've learned already, but my promise to myself, particularly around self-love, is that I am grateful with the magnificent relationship that I have with myself, and that I beam self-love and self-worth. And with that, I hope that you too can find that, and that you can find your truth, so that you can find your true potential. I hope you enjoyed these videos. If you did, click on the link below and go and join and do something similar.